Okay, Shalom Aleichem, Parshas Beshalach. I know we're a little late, but Torah Anytime was not functioning too well. Now we're a little behind. But let me tell you a $64,000 question everybody has on Beshalach from the Mayon Beis HaSho'eva. It says in Beshalach something that 99% of the people, when you ask them, they'll tell you the wrong answer. Rashi makes it a point that you should not make a mistake, but people ignore that. It says, the second pasuk, Vayasav Elohim Esam, God detoured the people coming out from Mitzrayim. They were in Goshen, which is the Nile Delta, northern part of Egypt, and they could have gone right up their side road, the left side, by the Mediterranean, straight up, and over to Yerushalayim. Instead of going north, they went out to the right, toward Midian, Saudi Arabia, past the Dead Red Sea. Why did they do that? Hashem detoured them. Vayasav Elohim, He led them. Esam derech hamidbar, out into the desert, rather than straight up. That's, you got Egypt, the Negev, then come there, it's Israel on top. Why are you going to the right? Well, you should go straight up. Vayasal him esam derech hamidbar, to the right, to the east. Detoured them, made them go around, detoured them. And they came up out of Mitzrayim chamushim. So Rashi says, and Rashi is where you learn Pshat, he says chamushim means they come up with 5 types of weapons to fight Og and Sichon and the Canaanim and the Amalekim. They had 5 types of weapons. And Rashi tells you this is Pshat. And I'm telling you this, L'shaber es ha'ozen, to break your ears, means to impress you. Some say L'saber with a samach, to give you a rational, svara is rational, a rational reason what this word means, chamushim. He brings another reason. And then he says at the end, there's an I got it, there's a medrash that says chamushim means 1/5. That means 1/5 got out, 4/5 died. And everybody says that. And you're not allowed to say that, because that's not pshat. Every pasuk in the Torah, every word in the Torah has 4 levels. Pshat, remesh, drush, sod, pardes. I'll give you an example. The first word in the Torah, the pshat is in the beginning. That's the pshat. Remez, in the word Bereishis, you have Ba'alef Tishrei. The same built in. First day of Tishrei, that's when God created the world. Good. That's Remez. Drush, yeah, Drush, Kedashin like this. Besides saying, in the beginning, God created the world, you can say, Bereishis, the first thing you have to know is, Borah Elohim, God is the creator of the world. And if you don't believe in that, forget about it. That's the drush. And now comes sod. Has nothing to do with pshat. Beis, reish, aleph, shin, yud, tov is bereishis, right? So, you know what that means? You know what that means? Berishono, ro, elokim, sheikablu, Yisrael, Torah. Berishono, Rosh Hashanah. Berishono, ro, elokim, sheikablu, Yisrael, Torah. That's why, Yisrael, Yisrael, Torah. That's why he made the whole world. That's so. That's really the secret. Rashi is telling you, the pshat is, he tells you there, this is the pshat, nothing else. And I'm trying to break your ears to impress you that nothing else is pshat. There's a medrash, 1/5 came out and 4/5 died. Now let me tell you something, Rabbi saying. If you take that literally, the Vilna Gaon says, if you take every medrash literally, you are shaitan. And if you take none of them literally, you're not apikoros. How do you know which is literal and which is not? So you have to learn Midrashim. That's why you got hundreds of Midrashim. And you got the Vilna Gaon, and you got the Ben Yehoyada, and you got the Mashal, and you got the Ein Yaakov. So many, Tanchuma, Medrash HaGadol, Mechilta. If you say that 1/5 came out and 4/5 died, you'll be a laughing stock of the world. You know why? That means that in 3 days, Hashem killed twice as many Jews that Hitler killed in 6 years. He killed 6 million. This comes out 14 million in 3 days. Hell, how many even got out of Mitzrayim? Total. Let's say we count the males between 20 and 60, 40-year-old. There was 600,000. So 0.6 million, right? 600,000. 0.6. That's all. That's it. Not one woman is included here. They all had one wife at least. Oh, another 0.6. And they had so many children. You know why? Because every single family had a daughter first. Bas Techila Simen Yofa Labanim. If you have one daughter, then you have 6 boys right after that. So they had another, at least one daughter. So you have 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. Now, were there any Jews, you think, between 60 and 100? Another 40 years, right? Another 0.6. What about 100 and 140? Another 0.6. What about between 0 and 20? So that's 20 years, so it's not 0.6, it's 0.3. What about the 22,000 of Shevet Levi, which is not included in the 600,000? Rabbi Sai, Hirsch, and others say you had a minimum of 3.5 to 4 million Jews came out. 4 times that much died. 16 million in 3 days. That's more than Hitler killed in 6 years. And buried them, all 16 million. And the Goyim shouldn't notice. That's why it happened in 3 days of darkness when they couldn't move. The Goyim shouldn't notice that some Rishonim that were there, they died, and they shouldn't notice any graves. And the Medrash goes further. The same Medrash. It does not 1/5, it says 1/50th. 16 million becomes 160 million. Then it goes further. 1/500th. Bigger, 10 times bigger. Not 140 million. 1.4 billion. You understand this is a medrash, not to be taken literally. He says the mind base of Shevel says. And they all had to be worse than Dosan and Aviram. Because they came out the last with Pharaoh, 7th day. The Yam split again for them. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And there were 14 million, 140 million worse than Dosan and Aviram. Obviously you understand that this is a medrash. It's not true that 4/5, 80% died in Mitzrayim. Not true. That the Maya, maybe a few Yechidim, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people, has to be worse than Dosan and Aviram. And you can't say there's 1.4 billion people worse, lower than Dosan and Aviram. There weren't so many people on the planet Earth. Or 14 million. Or 1.4 million. You can't say that. Logic doesn't let you say that. I mean, we're worse than the Egyptian? And Hashem killed in 3 days what Hitler couldn't do in 6 years. Double that, 6 million to 12 or 14 million. He said there were a few Yechidim, maybe a few. And they never left Mitzrayim. Those people, in the year 2448, till today, 5773, 3,325 years. Those 33 centuries, these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people would have been multiplied geometrically. They would have been millions and millions and millions. That's what it means. He brings a proof. When there were 4 human beings on the planet Earth, one killed his brother, which means Chaim killed 25% of the people on Earth, because there were only 4 people. And Rashi says, Chaim, where's your brother? He says, am I my brother's keeper? He says, well, the voice, the screaming of the bloods of your brothers that will come, or would have come from that one person you killed, Hevel, the millions and millions and millions of people that would have come from hell are crying to me from the ground, why don't I have a chance to exist? That's the Mayans' proof. That Chaim killed 1/4 of the world's population. Billions and billions and billions and billions. Same thing here with Mitzrayim. There were a few Yechidim who said, come a Yechidim. And by then, they were cut off from time, so they're done. Until now, Mashiach comes. That's what it means. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and billions. That's what it means. It says, Pasuk numbered Yud. Yudalid Yud. Pharaoh Hikrit. And Pharaoh came close with his army on the 7th day of Pesach. Yoyisu b'nei Yisrael, as they named, they picked up their eyes. He named Mitzrayim, those who the Mitzrayim are coming behind them. The Yiru Mo, they were very, very, very afraid, with 2 Yuds. Afraid of getting killed, and afraid of maybe they deserved death for an Avera they did. They crawled out to God. When your life is in abeyance, you know exactly what address Hashem has. What's going on over here? Pharaoh Hikrib should say Hakarev Korath. He got closer with his army. What means Hikrib? The answer is he was so entranced in getting those Jews back, free labor. Otherwise they're going to have to hire new people and wouldn't pay him for labor. Here there were slaves, didn't have to pay him. And they took the whole Egyptian treasury. They cleaned out Mitzrayim, it says, like a lake without any fish. And a bird's nest without any birds. They bankrupted the country. All the billions of dollars that Yosef collected 118 years before he died, in the 2 years of hunger, there was in the Egyptian treasury. They had given that to the Egyptians or the Jews the last night. They were Chaim. They fell in love with the Eden. They gave much more than they wanted. And now they thought it over 7 days later. Wow. They bankrupted us. And we have no labor. Let's go and get them. What changed their heart? Because when Hashem took them out, he told Moshe after 3 days, instead of going to the Yam Suf, made a U-turn and go back to Mitzrayim. Don't go to Mitzrayim, they go back towards Mitzrayim. And they went back and they stopped in front of an Egyptian god called Baal Zephon, an idol. And the agents that went with, the Pharaoh sent with the Jews, said, after 3 days, they came back like they said, they turned around, they said they would come back. But the God stopped them. Our God there in the middle of Baal Zephon stopped them. They want to run away. They lost their way. They can't even go. And maybe they think this is the way out. The Mitzrayim is the way out. Or maybe the Baal Zephon stopped them. They're caught. They don't know which way to go. Let's get them. Hashem set up Pharaoh to fall for this trap. It's called bait and switch. He baited Pharaoh to make him believe that the Baal Zephon had a power over them, mixed them up, and instead of going that way, to Eretz Yisrael, they went the other way and he caught them. And now they can't move. That was Hashem told Moshe. Tell the Bnei Yisrael to do this. Don't ask any questions. Rashi says over there, when you run away from your enemy, you run away, you don't run to them. He said, the people said, let's trust Ben Amram, the son of Amram. Let's trust him. He knows what he's doing. Isn't Ben Amram a name of disrespect? No, because when Amram was the Gadol Hadar, before Moshe was born, he was the Gadol Hadar in Mitzrayim, and his daughter told him, Tati, you're worse. No. The father said all the firstborn will be all firstborn males be killed, thrown into the Yam Suf. So he gave his wife a get, Yocheved, and he was a Gadol Hadar, so everybody gave the wife a get. Because to stay together, you have to be married, and you cannot prevent children, and the children will be thrown in the Yam Suf, and therefore they got to get the divorce, so they won't have any children. So therefore they're not a battle, a mitzvah of Peruvu. So Hashem made the daughter, Miriam, 6 years old, a Naviya, and said to Tati, you're worse than Pharaoh. Pharaoh says only the male's thrown in the Yam Suf. You don't even want to have mommy to have a female. He thought about it. That's the Nevuah Ben Shemaim. He remarried his wife, and all the people remarried their wives, so he's a Gadol Hadar. And from that remarriage, when the mother was 130, Moshe Rabbeinu was born. So Amram knew what he was doing, even though it looked ridiculous to get married again, and the kids, if you have a male, can be killed. Don't worry about that. You have a child, you have mitzvah prurvu. Don't worry about what the guy said. Hashem will change that. And therefore the Jews now said, listen to Ben Amram. His father Amram did something illogical, and it turned out that Moshe Rabbeinu was born. So therefore, don't worry about it. Let's go back to Mitzrayim. Hashem didn't tell him about the bait and switch. He's going to get Pharaoh for this. And so Pharaoh said, whoa, they don't know where they're going. They're encircled by the desert. Let's go get them. So on the third day, they turned around and started going back to Mitzrayim. Pharaoh heard about it. So he ran after them a 3-day trip. On the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Now was the end of the 6th, beginning of the 7th day. We call the 7th day Pesach, the 22nd of Nisan. And he caught them that night, and their back was toward the Yam Suf, the Reed Sea. Suf is reeds, not Red Sea. There's no red. It's a misnomer. Reed Sea. Like lead pencils have no lead in it, and rubber tires have no rubber. and the Black Sea in Russia is not black, and the Yellow Sea in front of Japan is not yellow. It's a Rad's expression. Red Sea, Reed Sea. And they went back to the Reed Sea, and Bnei Yisrael had their back against the sea, and here's Pharaoh. Or they were facing the Red Sea, and here behind them is Pharaoh. He said to Moshe, well, there are no graves in Mitzrayim? I mean, come on, why'd you take us out here? It's your fault. You couldn't be a legitimate leader. You're a fraud. They wanted to stone him. Moshe said to Hashem, please, what do I do? Dabril b'nei Yisrael, let the b'nei Yisrael travel right straight ahead. There's no yam in front of you. It's an illusion. Into the water. There's no water. And as soon as Nachshon jumped in, it split. But first, Nachshon had to go in. And then Moshe waved his rod and the thing split. And the Egyptians saw the yam split. And then when the early morning came, Alos HaShachar, the cloud went up. And they saw the yam split and the Yidden on the other side. And they 10-time loser they are. He said, let's go get them. Don't they know that this also could be a trap? Hello? They went right in there. Horse and rider were in a trance. So was the king. And they went after them into the Yam Suf, and the water collapsed on them. They had 600 best chariots, Shlishim al Kulo, and 3 horses each chariot. That means 1,800 horses. Some say it was a 3-seater, three officers. Some say the horses were 1 horse, but they were Shlishim, third born. Some say they were Shlishim, they were the best horses in the country. Some say that the Shlishim is like a Shalish, an officer, a very big, advanced soldier was driving the chariots. Whatever it was, Pharaoh lost his whole army in the Reed Sea. And not one Jew got hurt, and then they looked at each other. Good was that we listened to Ben Amram. It's true. You don't have to question Hashem. Hashem told Avram to take his son and make him a carbon. Father was 137 years old, and the Yitzchak was 37. Don't question Hashem. Where's the Jewish people going to come from? You kill your only son at 137. It's not your business. God's strategy, what is that to you? The last minute, the Malach said to Avram, stop, don't touch him. It's done, you've done it. You wanted to, it's good enough. The last minute, when the Yidden jumped into the Yam Suf, it split, what do you know? And now the Mitzrayim were caught, too late to get out. But Yenayir Hashem, as a whirlpool, Hashem will whirl them around and shot them up, Roma Bayom, and shot them down, Yora Bayom, Roma Bayom, Yora Bayom, Sus Varofe, stuck together, because the people lived like a life of horses. They were very, very hedonistic and very immoral. They were, horse and rider was connected together. That is the low life of the Egyptians, which was the most advanced country in the world. When you're highly advanced technologically, highly advanced, usually God does not exist in your world. Okay, Rabbi Yisrael, that's enough for Beshalach. And Amir Hashem, we'll do the next parsha because all 3 of these are late, because the Torah anytime had some problems in getting these up. So, Zay Gesund, everybody, and that was the Mind Base of Shame.